Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Lovely of you to come back. I've got a little bit of a different video to do today and there is a reason for this. I'm going to make a video about Axie Infinity because I have some things to say and there's been a little bit of controversy in the community recently. If you don't know what Axie Infinity is, Google it. It's an NFT game. It's a play-to-earn game. It's basically a game where you play and you get paid to do it in cryptocurrency rewards or in tokens. And some people have actually made like a full-time income from it, but recently the rules have changed. It's a lot more difficult for many players to earn, and there have been a few controversies, I think, in the community as a whole. So I just want to weigh in on this, and I'm going to do it in my way. Of course, I'm going to stay in my lane and I'm going to talk about what I know. I'm no crypto expert and this is not financial advice in any way, shape or form. But I do want to talk about the game. I wanted to get a better idea of what was going on because I do play the game and I was really starting to get worried, that things were going in the wrong direction, and understandably, there's a lot of fear and some disappointment in the community right now because of some of the changes that have happened and the changes that haven't happened. And people have accused the developers of not being upfront about what's coming, not giving updates, about things that are coming. And people are, understandably getting worried. So let's have a little look at the numerology of Axie Infinity. So I've done the chart for the numerology of the name of Axie Infinity. I don't have its date of birth as such, which would be the date that it sort of was conceived, that the plan was hatched, if you like. And if somebody could give me that date, I would love to do that as well at a later date to fill in some blanks. But right for now, we're going to focus on the name and we can still glean a lot out of that. There is a lot to pull out and I was actually a little bit surprised some of the stuff I found myself here. So let's take a look at this. I'm just going to share my screen. So hopefully you can see the little chart that I've prepared here. So there we go. Right. Okay, hopefully you can all see that now. So I just want to say in all of my readings, I do try to stay objective. Yes, of course, I do have an interest in this game because I do play it, so I do have skin in the game. But I'm interested in what the energy says. I'm quite a straightforward person. I like to know what the truth is. I want to know where the facts lie. I'm not really interested in in blowing smoke up anyone's ass or dragging anyone either. I don't really do gossip and drama. I don't have time for that. So we're going to have a little look at what the numbers say today. And you'll notice that this is a handwritten chart. And there is a good reason for that. It's not just me being too lazy to type it up. Numerologists actually do this intentionally. I was taught to always work by hand, although there are apps and programs you can get out there that can help you with this. It's actually better to do it the old-fashioned way, pen and paper or pencil and paper. Because you can actually get more information from how you've written it. How you write the numbers on the day, including any mistakes that you make, any typos, can actually be quite telling of the energy around the reading that you're doing. So do remember that, yes, this is the numerology of the name, but it's also a snapshot of today's energy that I'm picking up as well. So we'll just have a look at this here. So Axie Infinity is numerology. Let's jump on in. Okay, so the first thing that I noticed here was, wow, that's a lot of nines. If you look above the word Axie Infinity and below the word Axie Infinity, these are the numbers of the individual letters. So yeah, along the top there, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 nines. That's a lot of nines. Okay, not gonna lie. Also, there's a good presence of 5s and 6s there. So it's interesting just to look at to begin with. To me, those 9s speak of a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of wisdom and also a sense of responsibility with this whole project. But there's also a desire to lead other people forwards. There's a desire to be a leader, a market leader, a community leader, and lead others forwards into a new way of doing things, which is exactly what Axie Infinity is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a new way for people to earn money and play at the same time. I really think that that was their motivation behind the project. I mean, I know they say it in the white paper, but, some people have been suspicious recently of the direction it's all going in. And I know there is some concern about that. But it really does feel to me, looking at the numerology, that it really was intended to be a community project. It really was. Look at the Urge of Soul, which is the number US, the 49134 there, you can see in the top right-hand corner. 134 can bring out something of a selfish streak. So sometimes it's going to appear that they're being a little bit selfish, and sometimes they might be a little bit selfish, so that tendency is there. And we've got to remember, this isn't a charity that they're running here. It's a crypto project, it's a business. It's not a charity. 49 is a very pragmatic number. It's number 9 grounded by number 4. So this project really was founded on logic. And of course, it's very logical to provide for yourself whilst also helping the community. This isn't a bleeding heart project. This is very much a meeting of minds and ideals. It's definitely a business or, an enterprise rather than a charity. But I do genuinely believe that they mean to help the collective, like they say in the white paper. I really think they meant that when they said it. It wasn't just a ruse or some woolly idea that they thought they might implement at the same time. That was real. They really wanted to be trailblazers, I feel, and do things in a new way. But the flip side of that is they might come across as a bit arrogant. Because of the sheer number of 9s, it can indicate feelings of superiority. So there's definitely a my way or the highway energy here, that's for sure. It's not necessarily a bad thing, although egos can get bruised when you are that direct and focused on doing things on your terms and nobody else's. 9s can also be fearful of the future and of change. And their confidence comes from feeling that they know what they're doing. They want to be the wise old man. They want to be the one that knows better, knows best. So again, they may be double and triple checking everything before they release any information about it, about updates and particulars to the community. So I think that might be causing some delays here, just because they really want to get it right first, because there is that fear that comes through. So if we look at the first word, Axie, to start with, we've got a 15 there at the top and a 6 at the bottom. So that's actually very interesting to see, because 15 reduces to 6. 15, 6, that's like the same number, just appearing in slightly different forms. So yeah, it's like the higher purpose of ideals is actually what becomes reality. Their higher purpose is what actually came into reality with Axie. 15 isn't the easiest number to work with. It's about choices, and there is always a risk of the ego taking over if you allow your mind to run the show. 6 is the number of the heart, the sacred chalice, and it feels as though the people involved have quite closed hearts. Now, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a sort of self-protective way. I feel these are people who play their cards quite close to their chest. The hearts aren't really open, although they do genuinely care about people. There's a deep caring, I feel, that comes through. And I think that could be why a couple of the devs blocked Axie King on Twitter recently, because these guys really take everything personally. They take it very much to heart. There's a very real sensitivity that comes through to me from these numbers. It makes them feel very emotionally vulnerable. So I think they may tend to shut down rather than open up or admit any sort of weakness. I think it would just be too painful for them. I do think that's an unfortunate trait that may hold the project back, but it may also be its strength to, that they are genuinely, heart-centered and coming from the right place. There's a lot of heart in this project. So I do believe they are coming from the right place, even if it doesn't always look that way, even if they're not always able to show it to us. And I was thinking this morning that they should probably get a professional social media person or a PR person to handle their Twitter accounts, their social media, because there were some arguments going on and they weren't necessarily answering questions particularly well. And that's something that you do find with, with IT people. They're not customer service people. It's very different skill sets. And that's not a criticism, it's just an observation, and it's something I've observed before in the crypto community. Sometimes the devs really should not be the ones talking to the community. Sometimes they really need to pipe down and let a customer service professional or marketing professional handle it in a more diplomatic way. That's definitely a thing, let's be real here. So these guys mean well, but I think they're sensitive. They're more sensitive than we realize or that we might expect, for people who have something of a public profile, and they do care. So any suggestion that they don't care about the community is really going to hurt. No, it's it doesn't matter how pertinent the points that Axie King and Classy Axie were making. It would have felt like a heartbreak arrow to the heart. It would have been painful. Yeah. So moving on to the word infinity, my first impression here was with these numbers, there's a lot hidden. I feel there's a real introverted tendency here, which is why we may not be seeing a lot of updates from them. They're very introverted people, I think. There's a secrecy here. But I'd suggest that may come from a lack of confidence, maybe not wanting to be judged or criticized rather than an actual malicious intent. In the real world, I think moving forwards, there will be a lot of mystery around the game and the updates and the changes. And I think that's going to be a pattern moving forwards. I don't really see that changing anytime soon. I think that's always going to be an issue with the community. But I think as long as we know that, and I think that's less of a problem. So 18 in the tarot is the moon. So, in the major arcana of the tarot, it's the moon card. And that can be a really tricky energy. You can't see what's going on clearly in moonlight. It's not daylight. You can't really tell what's what. So things don't appear as they truly are. And I think because of that, it can make people concerned about what the developers are doing, what they're not doing. What I see is that they really do intend to make this game infinite. They want it to grow. They want it to do well on the longer term. They are in it for the long haul. But I think we just have to get used to that kind of introverted trait of maybe not being too open and communicating too well with the community. So I can see very clearly that the team are very logical minded. I mean, you would expect that for developers, for anyone involved in information technology, you expect logical, left-brained people, well-organized. But behind the scenes, I mean, they do seem to have a plan and they do know what they're doing, even if that kind of moon energy, that number 18 energy, makes it feel like they don't. They actually do. They very, very much do have a plan here. I'd say with this game, keep the longer term and the bigger picture in mind. And I think that's what one of the developers was saying recently. No, you've got to look at the longer term. But they genuinely mean that. They're not trying to fob anyone off by saying that. He means that. I would really take him at his word there. I don't believe he's trying to deceive anybody. These are people who really can deliver on their promises, and they've already got like a really long-term plan, in mind, and they fully intend to deliver on that. We might just have to give them some time and space, and they really, really need that love from the community, which is why they're trying to seek it at the moment, which is why they are surrounding themselves with people who are not asking the difficult questions, not because they want to be evasive, just because I think it's just too much to handle. It's too much for them to have going on right now. So it's not so much an ego thing. I think they really genuinely need our encouragement. So that's what I would suggest that you do. So coming to the overall energy of the game and the project, I'm looking at the numbers next to the letter OSE at the bottom on the right hand side there. So that's 73, 19, 10, 1. So the first thing that I felt when I saw these numbers, particularly 73, it just screams mystic blueprint to me. Mystic blueprint. It's a blueprint. It's coming from this mystical new place. It's completely new, created. And I really love that there are mystic axies in the game as well, because there's a very kind of esoteric feel here to the whole project, whether that was intentional or not. I feel it. And I think that on some level, this is really important to our evolution. I think this is a real trailblazer of the game, and we're going to see more projects moving in this direction, as time goes on, where people don't have to have a job, in the old traditional meaning of the word, and more, of course, as we evolve. But I feel that this game will be remembered as the one that brought real change to the world, and I think it has the potential to keep doing it. It really does. I don't think we're done with this one. I don't think it's over. The transformative energy of the 10-1 at the end is very powerful. That always brings change and a fresh start. I think we're going to see a lot of copycats, a lot of people copying this idea, over and above the NFT games that are already coming out, like Illuvium. I'm of the opinion that this game has longevity too, because it's just got such pioneer energy. They want to keep leading the field. They want to lead the field. They want to be the first ones. They want to keep leading it. That's the impression I get. So I don't think these guys are going to give up easily or throw in the towel. There may be some changes that we're not all completely happy about, but I think they're doing it for the right reasons, even if it's a little bit uncomfortable right now. So another interesting thing here is the number 19, which I have underlined because that's a hidden 19. Normally 73 is just 73, 10, 1, okay? But the 19 comes from adding up the second numbers in the P number and the US above, so the urge of soul and the personality, the 13 and the 6, that brings us to a 19. So we've got a hidden 19 in there as well, which adds a little bit more detail as well. So to me, that speaks of success and new beginnings from higher wisdom, and creating from a place of a real desire to do things differently, which is, of course, makes sense for this game, absolutely. It would absolutely be a mistake for us in the community or observers to fall back into this old energy, the energy of the age we're coming out of right now, and assume that the team are only in it for the money. Okay, that's not the energy I get here at all, and I have to admit I was actually a little bit surprised by that, because recent events would perhaps suggest otherwise, and I think a lot of people have been concerned about that, but that's not what I get at all. This is pulling away from the old patriarchal systems of might is right, the person with the most money is the most important. And I know that there's been a feeling of, hang on, you're prioritizing people who've got more money in the game. This isn't fair, give us a break. But there's more to it than that. There really, really is. They are trying to do things in the right way, and they are trying to move into the new energy. But I think it may be a progression over time for us to actually see improvements till it becomes more of the sort of permanent community project that really does good. I think we will see it more on the longer term. So we've already seen a hint of it, with people, particularly in the Philippines, being able to make a full-time wage from playing this game, which I think is absolutely wonderful, absolutely brilliant. Something I was very happy to see, very happy to find out. And I think we will see more of that moving forward. So that is absolutely the Aquarian energy. That is absolutely the energy of the new age, new energy we're moving into. So now just looking at the personal intent number, which is at the bottom of the page, which is PI, so 21-3. Now, this is a very creative number. These guys are real creatives. They have to create. It's in their blood. They're artists on some level. It's a very entrepreneurial number too. But these numbers can be better at coming up with ideas than following through. So there may be a weakness of too many ideas and not enough time or resources to implement them. So then, you might find yourself in a situation where the next idea comes along and distracts them, and so on. And that is one way that very creative people get stuck, kind of almost in an analysis paralysis with all these ideas, and they're not sure which one to go ahead with because they've got so many and they can't stop coming up with more, and too much choice is a fine headache. So I think that is certainly a weakness of the project. Maybe they are a little bit too creative, better creativity than implementation. And looking at the safety net number, which is the SN there at the bottom, 52-7, this number combo, this combines the energies of the masculine and the feminine, but it's analytical and cool-headed at the same time. So that number, this is like their energetic safety net. This is what they fall back on, when things go wrong. They have the ability to make decisions, good decisions, with a cool head, coming from thinking about the issue. It's a very analytical number. This number means that however difficult it gets, they do have the ability to see all sides of an issue. You know, and I think that's a real strength that the team can fall back on. That's good to see. It may mean making some tough choices. Okay. But 52-7 is quite capable of making the difficult choices that other people maybe don't want to, because they, you know, they want to be liked, they want to be popular, but you know, they know that sometimes you have to make a difficult choice that won't please everyone. And even if that makes them seem a little bit uncaring at times, particularly because they're hiding their hearts, you know, they don't necessarily want you to see what's going on inside. They're actually not. And the thing like the choice to reduce the amount of SLP that you can farm in a day to stop the game being run over, you know, run by bots who might be able to farm it. I wasn't a fan of that decision, but I get it. You know, for me personally, it affected me personally, but I understand, you know, they're not making that decision for my benefit. They're trying to do things for the good of the game. And again, that's 52-7 energy. That's that energy coming through there, making the tough decisions that aren't necessarily going to be popular, but for the right reasons. So in conclusion, just looking at, you know, just the numerology of the name here, which is what we looked at right now, I think there is a lot to be positive about with this game. This project, and as the Infinity name suggests, it has a strong potential for the long term. I think it's going to be around for a while. You know, that's what I'm seeing right now in the energy. And I was starting to doubt, I'm not going to lie, I was starting to doubt that. I think it has, I'm kind of reinvigorated now, I'm reassured a little bit by the numerology. So infinity is of course represented by the number 8 on its side. And there is, of course, a connection there between number 8 and the infinity symbol. You know, number 8 is the number of persistence. It's hard work. It's keeping going in spite of the odds. It is the, you know, it is the infinity symbol. But it can also be an exhausting energy, and there may be a tendency to overwork with this number. So I feel that perhaps if we're not hearing from the devs right now, I think they may have worked a little bit too hard and they just feel like they need a break as well. They might have done too much behind the scenes that we don't know about. Yeah, number 8 can bring overwork, it can bring taking on too much, but it's also a number that can lead to great financial success too, because, you know, as we know in Asia, that's a very fortunate number. Number 8 is a very lucky number when it comes to money, and there's a good reason for that. You know, it can bring great success in business with number 8. So in a nutshell, I think this game has great potential for the long term. The team behind it really do have the best intentions, even if they're not always able to demonstrate that to us, because they're a bit sensitive. Try and be nice to them, guys. You know, show them some kindness and compassion, because I think they really need that from the community to do their best work. So, yeah, what I've done as well, and I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a second. Okay, so something I have done as well is I did pull a few cards just to see what's going on, to get some information, and it kind of reiterated what I was picking up from the energy as well. But there's a few little insights here that I just wanted to share with you about the game, and the first one is the Phoenix. So this is about change, it's about rising from ashes as well. So although they may seem to be taking kind of a step backwards in some ways, I think there's going to be a big step forwards as well with this card too. And I think we kind of need to accept that we are, as a community, are not in charge. We have a certain say in things, but we are not in charge. This is now a baby, you know, much as we might like it to be, we might like to think that it is. We are not the developers, we're not the team behind it. They have a very specific plan, they have a direction they want to take this in. But I think we can expect it to be good. We really can. I want to say we can expect this project to go well. It's going to be good, even if they're doing something that we find uncomfortable in the meantime. I do think it has really good potential. Yeah, and I think we need to prepare ourselves for that as well. I feel like, yeah, maybe this isn't the most productive time. It's not the most, not the best time to get into the game, or it won't feel that way at the moment because you can't earn as much with the SLP. And SLP being so low at the moment as well, you know, I kind of feel there needs to be a little bit of faith there. And I do know that that's what the devs have been asking us for, to have faith and to think on the longer term. But I actually agree, from looking at the energy, I agree with them. Although my logical mind would not necessarily have gone there, but now I've seen it in the energy, I'm more convinced of that. So I do think they're very clear. And again, this is a number 9 card. I love that we have a number 9 card coming out. And there were so many 9s in that chart. And you know, they're very, very determined. They've got a very specific plan. They know what they want to do and they want to do it their way. And it's going to happen. You know, I think we can trust them on that. I think they are genuinely working for the collective good. And again, we've got the 8, the infinity symbol 8. As well coming through here. They're working for the collective good and they intend to continue doing so on the long term. This wasn't just a case of, oh, we'll start this game, we'll make out to community project and then we'll screw everyone over and we'll run off with all the money. That's really not what they're intending to do here. It's not. No, that's not what I get here at all. Not what I get here at all. Yeah, I think the bigger issues maybe come from us in the community, and this is like a spiritual challenge for us at the moment, not to fall into that old poverty consciousness thinking of, oh, we had this good thing but it's going to be taken away from us, oh, you know, the little guy always gets done over, we never win, because that's really not the case, and that's not the energy we're moving into. It's easy to believe that. It is, but 31 is a community number. Okay, it's a number that genuinely wants to help the community, and I think as long as we keep that in mind and realize that this is a marathon and not a sprint, I think that will keep people perhaps from being disappointed. Yeah. So overall, it's actually looking much better than I was expecting it to. Yeah. So that's my take on it, looking at the numerology and just pulling a few cards. So if you have any opinions on any of that, please do leave a comment below. If there are any other NFT games or anything else you would like me to have a look at the numerology of, I would love to. So again, please leave me a message, leave me a comment below. Please do remember to like, subscribe and share this video, and I will see you next time.